rather obvious things to say. What drew you to this story? I mean, it's obviously based on a novel by a novelist who died. Sort of, this was the last thing that she'd written, and it's quite, I think it's quite autobiographical about her life, Michaela Murray. And so, how did this project, how did that book, and how did that come to you?
I had, many years ago, I met this producer, Ricardo Tozzi, who's he's a guy who has produced Hermano Olmi, Taviani Brothers, Luigi Comencini. And he said he wanted to work with me, and I was very flattered. And after that, he keeps sending me these projects. As much as I really wanted to work in Italy, they were not, I didn't feel they were my thing.
Right.
And then 2 years ago, 2 weeks after Michaela's died, he said he bought the rights of the book, the last book Michaela Mucha wrote. And he said, no, because there is one story of a woman dying. And I said, stop. I don't want to do that. I've done that. I've been there, done that. Because 20 years ago I did a film called My Life Without Me. And since then, I really tried to avoid making another film about a woman dying. And also, I felt Michaela Mucha was this icon, this Italian icon, someone very, very loved and very, there were people who really deeply disliked Michaela. I thought it wasn't my place to adapt her, and I said, no, I don't want to read that. I'm sure you will find an Italian director. And he's persuasive, Ricardo, great guy. And finally, it's a book of 14 short stories, and there are two, and one is the story of Marta, and another one is the story of Antonio. And I was fine because I really liked that. And I said yes. And then I did something I did like a deep immersion in the book, in the world of Michaela Mucha. The first person who talked to me about her was Roberto Saviano, who was her best friend. And Roberto and I, we had a project for years.
Right.
And but that didn't happen. And the first thing I did after saying yes to this project, I asked Roberto about her, about her, his thing, of his take on me doing this thing, because I felt, I was going to a territory, like a sacred territory, and he gave me his blessing, and then I thought about Alvaro Bacher, and I talked to her.
Oh, so you had her in mind literally.
I always wanted to work with her.
Right.
I love Felice Rockbacher films, but I also love Laura Bispuri, who has done 3 films with her, and I love her work. And there is something in Alba who's, I don't know, there is something, there's this mixture of old and new, the strength and vulnerability, and I asked her if she wanted to work with me, and she said yes, and then I started writing with Enrico Benino, a great Italian screenwriter, and we always have, the fact she said yes, we always, because, when the film is, it's about the daily life of 2 people. There is nothing epic, nothing like, grandiose. But, when you have someone like Alba, if she eats an ice cream, this is gonna be epic.
So that was helpful because